when did you attend Diggs Johnson Junior High School?
I attended the elementary school portion in the mid 60s.
Hmm. Do you remember from what years?
Let's see, 67 to 69, probably.
Hmm. Wow. Do you know how long Diggs Johnson was open for?
I don't. All I know is my siblings were upstairs and I was downstairs. And occasionally I would see them, but rarely because we were totally separated.
So, my first question for you is, can you describe what Diggs Johnson was like? Was it like super old or was it in good repair, would you say?
Um, the part I was in the basement, so it was older, and it was separated from a newer section upstairs. So upstairs looked pretty neat and nice and clean, but downstairs was old. I don't know how they built it or if they connected one old building to a new one. So I don't know the history of its construction.
Mm. Where did the students live and how would they get to school, at least from your understanding?
Yeah, we walked. We lived about half a mile to three quarters of a mile from the school, and can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we walked from our house at 306 South Fremont Avenue down through local streets. I remember being terrified that we had to cross Washington Boulevard every morning because as a small child, and I had to take my sister Denise the second year I was there. As a small child, we always worried that we would get hit by a car. Washington Boulevard at the time seemed massive, and I think it's been shrunken since then. But we had to cross Washington Boulevard to get to the school, and you know the school was in what is now a parking lot for one of the stadiums.
So where do you think most of the students lived? Like, did they live outside of Baltimore or was it all students in Baltimore?
I think they were. I didn't think they were neighborhood kids. I didn't. I didn't recognize many of the student body when I got there. In fact, if you asked me who was in my kindergarten class, I wouldn't remember. A friend of mine, Larry, who also went to the school, has a picture of his elementary school class, and he insists that I'm in it, but I'm not. He showed it to my wife. He said, "There he is, right there." I'm like, "No, that's not me." In fact, I can probably get a copy of that picture.
Thanks. Would you say the neighborhood was safe?
Oh yeah, back then, you know, I was there when Martin Luther King was killed.
Oh,
Yes, I think that the neighborhood was relatively safe, except for little kids having to brave traffic to get to school. But back then, the neighborhood was pretty safe. I don't recall us. Let me take that back. You take that back. We couldn't go in certain directions. As black kids in South Baltimore, if we turned right on and went west on Washington Boulevard, we might make it a half a mile before white kids chased us back home. I never got to see Carroll Park until I was a young man.
wow.
By then, Baltimore had become much more uh, integrated
Hmm.
while still being segregated. There was a huge uh, white flight issue in the '60s and '70s. So a lot of the white folks in the neighborhoods moved out to the suburbs. But I was
So,
certainly unable to go to certain neighborhoods in the mid '60s.
mm. This was this was after your time, so it's okay if you don't know the answer to this,
Mm-hmm.
but do you know by any chance what school a lot of the kids went to after Diggs Johnson closed?
I don't. I know there's another school that might have a similar name near there on along Washington Boulevard.
Yeah. Okay. So can you please describe basically what the surrounding area was like when you attended Diggs Johnson? Like what was next to it?
Hmm. I vaguely remember what was around there. I know we had to go through the Russell Street corridor, which was pretty industrial. Uh, I remember this towering building. It sort of reminds me of a building in East Baltimore that's run by Johns Hopkins. It had that that high school style of the 50s and 60s to it, sort of the way Edmonton High School looks now.
Uh,
It had
do you
it had the big front uh, with side hallways. And I remember having to go around the back and into the basement for kindergarten.
wow. Do you
And
remember
only occasionally going upstairs to do whatever.
hmm, uh do you remember the B&O warehouse, which is still at Camden Yards today?
Yes, as an elementary school student, we took trips to the B&O Railroad Museum.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a public. I mean, it's a popular school trip for schools for city kids. I don't know if they still do it, but back then we had occasional school trips. They included to Federal Hill. They included to movie theaters to see Sounder. But I was in another school by then. But
Uh,
it was a popular practice back in the 60s and 70s to take elementary school students to movies.
yeah, I think they still do that now, actually. But do you remember the B&O warehouse and Camden Station around where around Diggs Johnson?
I remember the B&O because that was about a quarter mile from our house. I do not remember the Camden station
Yeah.
because I didn't go that way much.
Hmm. That's okay though. But what was the warehouse like?
Well, it had old trains in it.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it was neat to see it as a kid.
Hmm. Uh, what were your
But as
thoughts?
as a neighborhood resident, we didn't regularly go there. I would only go in there as part of a school trip.
Ah, wow. Surprising. That's interesting. Wow. Uh, what were your thoughts when you found out the school was coming down?
Well, it's always disappointing to hear that you're going to lose a monument to your past, but I understand that there's progress and it's important for Baltimore to grow. And having the stadiums there is definitely better for the economy.
Uh, what were your thoughts when you found out the stadium was going to be there?
I wasn't surprised.
Uh,
I
can you
mean,
elaborate?
of course,
Sorry.
you're mildly disappointed. You're mildly disappointed to lose some of your past, but cities change. Let me tell you some of my background. I'm a former journalist.
Oh, I'm a journalist too.
I spent 30 years at daily newspapers, including 4 as assistant city editor at the Baltimore Sun. I now work for a consulting company that does communications outreach on infrastructure projects, things like BG&E and the Amtrak tunnel. It's called Aceto Consulting. I'm a senior project manager. But I spent 30 years at daily newspapers, including the Baltimore Sun, Boston Globe, and the Boston Herald.
Um, and then my next question that I have for you is, do you go to Orioles games?
I do.
Hmm.
I think I went to one last season.
Hmm.
In fact, when I was at the Sun, I participated in a Star Spangled Banner contest at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. I lost to some radio guy.
Oh,
But I do sing a lot. I'm in the choirs at St. John Baptist Church in Columbia.
oh,
And we did an album in 2018. The male chorus did an album called Revealed,
So,
featuring the James Fenimore Cooper male chorus, and I lead one of the songs on the album.
ah, so when you go to Oriole Park by any chance, do you tell people that you went to school on this site?
No, but it is part of the discussion between my siblings,
Oh,
especially my older siblings. And our school used to be there.
what what's that feeling like? Is it like bittersweet, or is it more like, oh my gosh, wow, our school used to be on this site?
Um, it's bittersweet, but I wasn't that attached to the school. I didn't spend that much time there. I think I did 2 years there. But my siblings, and I'm the 11th of 13 kids, had more time there than I did. Wish they could be on this call. I sent an invitation to my sister Wanda and to my brother Will. I know Will has a lot more memories about the place than I do.
Ah, nice. Nice.
He probably would have more memories to reflect on.
No, that's okay. Do you have like a specific memory you would like to share?
Let's see. Only that's where I learned my first lessons. I think I said in my text that I was embarrassed the first day that I didn't know how to write the alphabet. I knew the alphabet, but I didn't know how to write it. So I went home, and my sister Wanda took me aside and showed me how to write it. And I never looked back. I actually did pretty well. I went to boarding school in Massachusetts, and I went to an Ivy League college.
Oh, nice. All right. So those are all the questions I have for you.